for property located at 2285 Alvin Drive. Staff, MPU, and ZRB recommendation approval. Item number 2, 22-01704, Z2271, an ordinance by Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet to rezone certain properties along Campbellton Road between Butner Road and the city limits to support recommendations of the Campbellton Cascade Corridor Redevelopment Plan. Staff, MPU, and ZRB recommendation approval. Item number 3, 22-01728, Z2262, an ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from Martin Luther King Jr. Landmark District Subarea 2 Beltline Overlay to Martin Luther King Jr. Landmark District Subarea 4 Beltline Overlay for property located at 597 Auburn Avenue. Staff, MPU, and ZRB recommendation approval. Item number 4, 22-01787, Z2266, an ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from two-family residential Grant Park Historic District Subarea 1 to residential limited commercial Grant Park Historic District Subarea 1 for property located at 337 Georgia Avenue. Staff, MPU, and ZRB recommendation approval. And item number 5, 22-01790, Z2269, an ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from commercial service district conditional Beltline Overlay, commercial service Beltline Overlay, and two-family residential Beltline Overlay to mixed residential commercial Beltline Overlay for property located at 581 Edgewood Avenue rear. Staff, MPU, and ZRB recommendation approval.
Thank you. I move approval for all 5 items. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Faroki. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. We are moving on to sound items 6, 7, 9, 12, and 13 as a block.
Item number 6, 22-01125, Z2179, an amended ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from single-family residential Collier Heights Historic District and single-family residential Collier Heights Historic District to planned development housing Collier Heights Historic District for property located at 0 Collier Drive and 0 Kildare Avenue Southwest. Staff and ZRB recommendation approval conditional, MPU recommendation approval. Item number 7, 22-01235, Z2212, an amended ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from single-family residential to multifamily residential conditional for property located at 3537 Roxborough Road Northeast. Staff recommendation and ZRB recommendation approval conditional, MP recommendation approval conditional. Item number 8, 22-01535, item number 9, item number 9, 22-01638, Z2250, an amended ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from heavy industrial Beltline Overlay to mixed residential commercial conditional Beltline Overlay for property located at 1095 and 1121 Huff Road Northwest. Staff recommendation, ZRB recommendation, and EPU recommendation approval conditional. And item number 12, 22-01729, Z2263, an amended ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from residential limited commercial conditional to community business district conditional for property located at 2695 Brownsville Road Southeast. Staff recommendation and ZRB recommendation approval conditional, MP recommendation denial. Item number 13, 22-01788, Z2267, an amended ordinance by zoning committee to rezone from multifamily residential conditional Beltline Overlay to multifamily residential conditional Beltline Overlay for a change of conditions for property located at 930 Malden Street Southeast. Staff, MPU, and ZRB recommendation approval conditional.
Okay, so I move approval for all items. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Amos. Please prepare the vote.
Vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas and 0 nays.
All right, we are moving on to item number 8. I motion to amend as attached Exhibit 1.
Many members will find maps in your packet.
Item number 8, 22-01535, Z-2265, an ordinance by Councilmember Jason Dozier, Amir Faroki, Matt Westmoreland, Liliana Bakhtiari, Dustin Hillis, Byron D. Amos, Andrea Alboon, Alex Wan, Antonio Lewis, and Keisha Shawn Waits, as amended by Zoning Committee to amend the 1982 Atlanta zoning ordinance as amended, regulating off-street parking in Section 1618A-015 of the Downtown Special Public Interest District, Section 1618P-020 of the Midtown Special Public Interest District, so as to update, modify, and revise certain provisions of said sections and for other purposes. Staff, NPU, and ZRB recommendation approval.
Okay, motion to amend. Second by Councilmember Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Okay, motion to approve as amended. Second by Councilmember Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. That brings us to items 10. Let's sound items 10, 11, 14, 17, and 18 as a block.
Certainly. Item number 10, 22-01642, Z-2256, an amended ordinance by Zoning Committee to rezone from Commercial Service District Beltline Overlay and Office Institutional Beltline Overlay to Mixed Residential Commercial Conditional Beltline Overlay for 1192 West Marietta Street and 1202 West Marietta Street. Staff, NPU, and ZRB recommendation approval conditional. Item number 11, 22-01643, Z-2257, an amended ordinance by Zoning Committee to rezone from single-family residential Beltline Overlay to multifamily residential conditional Beltline Overlay for property located at 1060 Rice Street. Staff, NPU, and ZRB recommendation approval conditional. Item number 14, 22-01791, U-2125, an amended ordinance by Zoning Committee for a special use permit for outdoor dining at eating and drinking establishments when any part of such use is located within 1,000 feet of a said zoning district or a property used for residential purposes. Staff, NPU, and ZRB recommendation approval. Staff and ZRB recommendation approval conditional. NPU recommendation approval. Item number 17, 22-01803, an ordinance by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari to waive provisions of Part 3 Code of Ordinances, Land Development Code, Part 16 Zoning, Chapter 29 Definitions, Section 1629-00173, Supportive Housing of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for the purpose of waiving the distance requirements for developments located at 250 Auburn Avenue Northeast and for other purposes. And item number 18, 22-01665, an ordinance by Councilmember Alex Wan to zone property located at 923 Springdale Road Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30306 to the single-family residential zoning district and for other purposes.
Okay, so the motion for all of these properties is to hold. Second by Councilmember Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Those items are held. And that brings us to
Item number 15, Madam Chair.
yes, please. I'm looking for
Item 15. Item 15, 22-01494, Z-2236, a substitute ordinance by Zoning Committee to rezone from single-family residential to multifamily residential conditional for property located at 706 and 708 McDonough Boulevard, Southeast. Staff recommendation, ZRB recommendation, NPU recommendation, approval conditional.
Okay, so motion is to approve as substituted. Is there a second? Second by Westmoreland. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. It's 7 yeas and 0 nays.
And item number 16, 22-01877, an ordinance by Councilmember Mary Norwood to extend the moratorium on subdivisions of 3 or more adjacent lots in District 8 for a period not to exceed 90 days and for other purposes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, and the reason is this. We have, the Planning Department has worked with my office and with all of the council members on not allowing a land disturbance permit until after we've identified the lots. That was one of two major requests that we had. The other is stormwater, and I know that the Commissioner of Watershed is working with not only the staff, but also some some engineers that have firsthand knowledge of what's going on. And if we have this 90 days, we can put the stormwater in place for our district and for other districts as other council members choose. So I make a motion to approve.
Okay, move approval by Norwood, second by Overstreet. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed, 7 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. That brings us to items being held in committee. Any items need to be pulled off held?
No, ma'am.
Nope. In that case, oh my goodness, we have reached the end of our, Councilmember Norwood would like to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make sure for the public and for those in the audience to announce that the first of the Atlanta zoning rewrite, Phase 2, will be this Tuesday. And if Ms. Holmes could give us the particulars on that, that would be great.
The first workshop will be held at the Habitat for Humanity offices in person. You are also able to log on virtually. We will be holding hybrid meetings, and we invite you to enjoy these discussions to discuss the many items that were brought up today by the many residents that were present.
Well, thank you both. That was my only announcement. Does anyone else have any more? So we're all on the same page, and for that reason, we are adjourned. Thank you.